So where do we start with fall, the best season of them all? Let's start low here at the beginning. I might move these out of the way as we go through. I've said time and time again, 2011 was the best year for fall and holiday candles with Slatkin, and that remains true to this day. This was Mountain Leaves, really, really delicious. Again, I reviewed these all in previous videos, so check them out if you want to learn more. Again, this is a top 5 for me. Cannot say enough about it. The amazing Lavender Caramel is what they called it at the time, but it then was released as Lavender Macaron. Again, just nothing to be said about that. Kitchen Spice, which is classic and maybe coming back for SAS this year. Fireside, 2011 label, 2010 label, but actually came back with some annual sale of Caramel Apple, which we have not seen for quite a few years at this point. Then we have, from actually just last year, Heirloom Pumpkin, aka Pumpkin Patch, aka Pumpkin Carving, aka the perfect autumn pumpkin. You'll see a lot of versions of this because it's a top 5 fall for me. Vanilla Chai, I wish I would have bought more of. It was actually a really nice creamy chai tea scent. And then Your Eyes Are Not Playing Tricks on You, that's another Mountain Leaves, another Lavender Caramel. Woodland Berry was only out 1 year, really nice berry. S'mores, 2011, only out 1 year. Marshmallow Fireside, the original, everyone knows and loves. This is the Pumpkin Patch that I mentioned. You'll see many of these. Acorn and Fig, which then came out as Autumn Day and then was revamped for last year for Autumn Night. Cranberry Woods, I love the original packaging on this. Like, that image is just beautiful and depicts the scent so well, I think. Autumn Apple, so much better than the farm stand apple we've seen the past couple of years. Just a pure, true Macintosh. Cranberry Harvest was a failed test scent. Spice Cider, very basic, everyone knows it. We're moving on to, this is 2012, I believe, collections. This is actually also the last time I think they used Slatkin Co that fall. Pumpkin Carving the following year, same sense. Roasted Pumpkin Butter, this was the test version of it before it came out the following year. Apple Crumble, 2011 came out. This is the second packaging of that. And this was 2012, was finally when it had a good burn. The first year was awful, and God, that's a good scent. Then Sweater Weather. Everyone goes crazy over this now, but back in 2013, I think actually, or maybe 2012, I guess, it came out like this ugly, boring label, came out randomly with cedarwood oak late in the fall, only as a test, and then thankfully came back the next year wide, and it's just one of my, again, top 5, 10 falls. Sandalwood Vanilla, oldie but goodie. Brandied Pear, just came out the 1 year, also very interesting. White Barn number 1, Nutmeg and Spice. Really a nice, creamy, light spice, good for the fall. Then we move on to a mix of, gosh, actually there's a Christmas one looped in here, but this is, I think, 2013, 2014. This is Good Natured Christmas, which was a weird, smoky kind of Marshmallow Fireside-ish thing. Autumn Day, which was a nice version of Acorn and Fig. There's your Pretty Sweater Weather. Fireside. Autumn Snow, which has seen like 3 or 4 different versions, and I actually became obsessed with it. Autumn Snow, Apple Garland, Pine Cone, White Barn Christmas 2013. Many forms, has always kind of failed, but really, really love it. Vanilla Pumpkin Marshmallow, which was nice, but kind of boring. Farm Stand Apple, didn't love it. Apple Ale, weird, but interesting. Only came out that 1 year, I think 2013. 2 more of the original Sweater Weather because I was scared it wasn't going to come back. This is not the last you'll see of them. Then we have the Roasted Pumpkin Butter, another one of those. That was the test scent year for that. Blueberry Pumpkin Patch, which tested with Roasted Pumpkin Butter, but then came out wide that year, I think 2013, I think, in that label there. Pumpkin Hayride, which I only burned once, and it smelled straight up like hardcore cardamom. Like, I actually thought that it smelled like Indian food in my apartment, and then I realized it was the candle. Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin, and I love Indian food, don't get me wrong, but I don't want a candle that smells like it. Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin, you know, that classic. Pumpkin Carving, not the last to see of that. Pumpkin Carrot Cake, test scent, came out 2013. Nice, really sweet, very light on the pumpkin. Another Pumpkin Carving, 2012. 2012, it actually was a test scent only, and then it came out wide in 2013, and then 2014 as your Harvest, or whatever, Heirloom Pumpkin. Cinnamon Nut Bread, should have been called Banana Bread, because that's exactly what it was. Second year of the most delicious Cinnamon Sugar Donut. Very powdery but interesting cedarwood oak. I grabbed 2 of them. It came out with Sweater Weather. Didn't love it as much. Half Burned Brandy Pear, which was nice. Thanksgiving, which was mashed potatoes, like cheap, like buffet mashed potatoes, disgusting. And 1 more Sweater Weather. And then our final hits for fall, we've got Cider Lane. Really love that one. A nice, nice apple cider caramely. Cranberry Woods, another packaging of that. Leaves, cannot pass up the classic Leaves. Tailgate, which came out, I think, wide last year as a different scent entirely. This original test one was really nice. Like, they called it, I think it had hickory and like leather in it. Really interesting. So I actually have 2 of those. This is an autumn where I actually had to transfer it to a different jar because the jar it was in broke, so I didn't have a label for it. And right here, a true autumn, which is one of my favorite fall transitionals because it's like a light autumn day before you move into heavier leaves. Applewood Bonfire only saw the light of day 1 year, but it was a nice kind of, again, sort of cedarwood-ish, very sweet, fireside-ish kind of thing. Same thing with Cedarwood Trail, which is just out for 1 year, I think the same year as that Applewood Bonfire. There's the Pine Cone I mentioned before that I love, another one of those, another Cranberry Woods. Harvest Gathering, which was a test scent at one point and then went wide last year and was fairly successful. Weird, but nice, slightly generic blend. Flannel, interesting but weird. Vanilla Firewood is a failed test scent, just too dull. I should have returned it, but you know, once I buy it, I usually just keep it. Sage and Cedar, this was another packaging of this after I showed you the earlier one that then turned into Black Tie later that year. Farm Apple Cookie, I think this was a failed test scent, but a really nice, truly smelled like an apple cookie, which is kind of a rare note. Another Autumn from this past year. Trick or Treat from this past year, which was just Marshmallow Fireside. Toffee Glazed Popcorn, weird, not really toffee, not really popcorn, failed test scent. I think it actually kind of smelled like almond shampoo. There's your Harvest Gathering from this past year, another Roasted Pumpkin Butter. This is a test year of a tri-layer pumpkin. I think it was Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin, Roasted Pumpkin Butter, and Creamy Pumpkin, which I actually don't have any Creamy Pumpkin here, but it was a nice candle for a couple of years. And Autumn Night, which I love this past year. Then we move into not really fall, but came out around, actually semi-annual sale, more holiday this year, was the Glitter Lid collection. I bought 3 of them. Be Daring, haven't burned it yet, but that's a fall-ish candle. Live in the Sunshine is actually First Bloom. And then Light Up the Room is a weird apple that's, I guess, fall-ish. And then this here, this beast of a collection, I was so excited about it. Someone actually gave me a tip that it was coming out when I was in a test store like months before it arrived, and then it arrived and was a huge failure. But some of these scents have come out later on. This is like the last hurrah for Slatkin. The longest video I've ever done, at least before today, was deep dives on every single one of these candles, and I was obsessed with learning about the different fragrance notes. It was really fun, but again, a 50-minute video, so most people have not watched it, I'm sure. But a really interesting collection, different type of label. They said it was based on the Allegheny National Forest, which is located in Pennsylvania. Blends like you've never seen from Bath & Body Works since then, because it was a true Slatkin intense, like whoever was in charge of product management then was ballsy and willing to try things that were new. And so you have Enchanted Woods, there are 2 of everything here. Red Oak Tree, Woodland Herbs, which is nothing like Tuscan Herbs, it's like very strong. Dark Berries and Bark, Black Forest Woods, a Wild Vetiver, Moss and Cedar Flower, which was, oh man, like it was like wet slate from like a pond or like a stream, a creek. Another Wild Vetiver, another Black Forest Woods, Moss and Cedar Flower, another Wild Vetiver, Woodland Herbs, and Dark Berries and Bark. So 2 or 3 of most of those, but I was so obsessed. And then, final before we move on from fall, well, we've got a random Bonfire Maplewood, which is nice, but only came out 1 year, a random Fireside, and then from a failed test collection that was called the Passport Collection, like 2012, there was Peruvian Black Pepper and Bergamot, which is right there, then turned into just Black Pepper and Bergamot, and Indian Mahogany and Bergamot, which became Mahogany Teakwood, the Abercrombie dupe that everyone is obsessed with now. But I was obsessed with the Black Pepper Bergamot. Top 10 candles probably of all times for me. And they also had like Himalayan Chai. It was 5 or 6 candles that were all this like painted wood label. Again, really unique, interesting, but just not generic enough for the masses to love it. So that's fall. Let's move on to Ho 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 and wrap this up with the holidays. So in some ways you may say that I've saved the best for last. Surprisingly, it's my smallest grouping of candles, which I did not expect going into it. I must really burn through these, except for the handful from like 2011, again, that I have held on to and refused to burn at this point. We've got, again, these labels are just so nice and cohesive that year. I actually have some 2010s in here as well. This is Spice, doesn't come out anymore, but just very classic. Deck the Halls. Just came out 1 year, was weird. This was one of my very first candles that I ever purchased with Karen sent my way. This is True Winter, and look at that, it was really beautiful labeling. This is not a sticker wrapped on like they do now. This was actually like, you know, screen printed or whatever onto the glass. Really, really pretty. Twisted Peppermint, can't go wrong there. Oh, this is probably my favorite Christmas candle, period. Luckily I have a full one and maybe a third left. Winter Garland. My goodness. I'm not even going to explain it. Look at my past videos if you want to learn more about it. Eggnog Cheer, 2011 failed test scent. Another, this is as good as Winter Garland. Vanilla Spice. This is the only candle I'm going to actually take time to smell in this video. Whipped, warm vanilla. No musk. Sweet, like powdered sugar. And spice, red spice. So beautiful. Cranberry Pear Bellini, which actually came out with vanilla spice in its original version. Then failed test scent, I believe, Holiday Gumdrop, 2011. Spiced Biscotti, 2011. Fresh Balsam, you know you love it. 2011, went wide, but has not come back. Winter's Night, a little bit left in there. Sleigh Ride, which was like an outdoor, like rosemary herbal rush, amazing, hasn't come back. Winter Cabin, which I loved, and it came back a few times as White Barn number blah blah blah, Clove and Cabin or something. Love that one. Another amazing one, only came out in 2010, 2011, Holly Wreath. Think holiday version of Sweater Weather, beautiful with some juniper. Creamy Nutmeg, oldie but goodie. Vanilla Shortbread, should have been called Lemon Shortbread, a really good bakery, which they don't do often or don't do well. Frosted Tree, which was a nice classic, one of many evergreen versions they've had over the years. Merry Mistletoe, which I think most people have known over the years at this point in a few different forms. The original 'Tis the Season, which, look at the difference. Now we have like cartoon snowmen on it, and this was just like a kaleidoscope picture of, you know, I don't know, apples and wreaths. Winter Sangria, which was hot off the success of Pink Sangria, but it was a flop test scent. Then move a year or two later to Twinkling Night, weird one, like a little too perfumey for me. Marshmallow Peppermint. People didn't love this when it was first out, but then like after it was gone, everyone was obsessed with it. 2011, really nice, again, Marshmallow Peppermint, just what it says. Then Dark Chocolate Mint, different than your mint chocolate that you know, or mint mocha bark. This is really nice. It's a true kind of dark chocolate, little Tootsie Roll-ish, but nice. Then you've got a year or two after that, Black Tie, aka Sage and Cedar, Champagne Toast, sort of the Toast of the Night collection. Some year, maybe 2012, of a Twisted Peppermint when it started coming out, and this is when they started doing multiple collections of the same candles. But you can't go wrong with any form of Twisted Peppermint. All right, final two rows. You are a champion if you stuck with me this whole time. A random like 2012 version, kind of ugly label, Fresh Balsam, but love Fresh Balsam. This is that Winter Cabin, White Barn number 2, Chestnut and Clove. Again, bad graphic designer that year. That's so ugly compared to the year or two before when it was Winter Cabin. Sparkling Icicles, which been there, done that at this point. White Barn Christmas 2012, I guess that was. Snowed In, love that one. It came out, and then I think it was a test scent the next year that failed. Same thing with Frosted Gingerbread. Another one of those Winter Cabin Chestnut and Clove number 2s. Winter Wreath, which is actually basically Merry Mistletoe. Cashmere, basic sounding, and it's, oof, boy, it is not even worth talking about. It's disgusting. Red Velvet Cupcake, also disgusting. Haven't burned it. I bought that in a craze, buying a ton of candles, and that was a mistake. Same thing with Cinnamon Caramel Swirl, which later came out, I think, in a fall collection as like some pumpkin something or other. Really nice failed test scent, Sugar and Spice, which kind of came back as the, what is that apple cider? I think it was called, no, it wasn't the Cider Lane, but it was like the apple cider that came out not in 2014, but in 2013. It was light colored wax. I can't remember the name of it, but cider apple? I don't remember. Anyhow, really nice, sugary, obviously very sugary candle. Final countdown. We have a Merry Mistletoe that did not come with a lid, but I put one on it from this past year. A Mint Mocha Bark this past year. Random Evergreen, I love Evergreen. Snow Day only came out that 1 year, and it was a mix of Fresh Balsam and Twisted Peppermint. It was amazing. Really surprised it didn't come out again last year. I have a second one, thankfully. Got 2 Snowed In because it was only a test scent back a year or two ago, and I was worried that it would go away forever, which I think it actually did, so I'm glad I grabbed that. Spiced Wreath, total waste of a candle. Boring, boring, boring. Evergreen, just a newer version this past year, because I wanted to stock up to make sure I had it. Another 'Tis the Season. Again, can't go wrong, great transitional. Ski Lodge, one of the other few new ones this past holiday season. A little bit dull, but a nice, you know, sort of conceptual cologne. Good Natured Christmas, another one of those. Cranberry Pearlini, cannot have enough of those in case that doesn't come back ever. And then Frosted Pine, which is a test scent that failed. Weird kind of dirty pine. Interesting, not amazing. Apple Garland, I know, or you don't know it, but I love it. Again, that's the same as Pine Cone and the White Barn Christmas 2012. And then our final one we're looking at is Frosted Cranberry. Really lovely, pure, classic winter cranberry fragrance that I hope they continue to come out with year after year. That wraps it up. So again, I do have, probably 50 or 60 little 4-ounces in my closet. I don't have the time nor the energy to go through all of those right now, maybe in another video if you guys are clamoring for it. But here is the mess. Be happy that you're not me, that you don't have to go through and put all of these away. Literally, it's like the storage room of Bath & Body Works back here. It's ridiculous. I feel like in some ways this time in my life I'm moving beyond it a little, in the sense that I'm not as obsessed as I once was, thankfully. My pocketbook, my husband, and my home are all thankful for that. So I may end up trying to sell some of these. I'm not sure. Like, there are some that I'll keep forever that I love. A lot I could sell. Not really sure. It's hard to do. I'm not a big fan of eBay because it's such work to mail them. I kind of want to just throw these all in a car and sell them for $5 a piece at a flea market or something like that. So yeah, if you have any ideas on the best way to do something like that, like major destashes, let me know. And that's it. Until next time, guys, take care.